All right, well, let's jump into Champ Select as it's already begun. Dagda, I want you to set this up, right? BLG over on our red side. What's the perfect composition? What do they really want to get for themselves if they want to win in here?
Well, honestly, I'm kind of seeing a lot of the stuff that I would have liked to see them already got. Like, I like when they've got something like a Twisted Fate for Zeka in the mid lane that can play towards a Camille, but that's banned away in the top side. A little bit more of a late game scaling, the likes of the Kaisa or the Aphelios, which is also gone. So honestly, the door is slowly but surely closing with this draft phase already for BLG side. Right now, though. Yeah, I know, but what I'd like,
How can it be
what
over?
I'd like to see from the right now is they could take away the Pantheon. I think this gives Meteor a much stronger early game jungler to play around. And then if they want to look towards something like the Samira or something along these lines in the bottom lane, try and play heavily through this bot side and then unlock Amy and Jwei. Looks like Jwei is going to go once again towards his Thresh. Must be a comfort pick for the guy. Of course, as you said, we've seen 2 games from him before this in the LPL, so not a huge amount of information to work with on this guy. But he looks very, very good on the Thresh.
Yeah.
Or sorry, in the LDL. Yes, yes.
I will say as well, the Thresh, bit of a takeaway from Ming here because you'd love to partner that Thresh with the Aphelios. So to some extent denying the combo. Cryin gets the Orianna once more, and wait, even if he's not Pantheon, he's still on an exceptionally strong jungler this patch with that Olaf. And we get a Varus lock in here, Dagda. And if I'm not mistaken, that is the first Varus of the entire year in the LPL.
That is. This is the first time that we're going to see it. Surprised to see it locked in. I mean, we still had like the Jins, the Samiras, like a lot of those champions up and running, but looks like instead they're looking to go towards a more or at least, you know, lane dominant style where you're able to get a lot of poke off with the Q. You've got a great shove as well, thanks to that piercing arrow. So I'm excited to see what they can do. I have not seen very much in the way of the Varus so far in the preseason, so this is going to be a bit of a learning curve for myself as well. I don't know if it's been played in one of the regions, but I'm really excited to see what this can do.
So Alistair and Nar banned away here. The Gangplank was one of the return bans coming out from RNG. Renekton already taken off the board. Curious whether RNG just go for another top lane ban here, or if they want to focus somewhere else. Looks like the Syndra taken off the board to remove some comfort from Zeka. When you think about Zeka, you think of Zoe and Syndra, right? So now Zeka has to change his tune coming into this game.
I don't think we'll see the Katarina. There are things like the Akali, and that's still open though. And as we talked about, I actually really like seeing Zeka on these more melee assassin style picks, but looks like instead they're going to opt in more towards this later game scaling and going towards the Azir. Does well in towards the likes of the Orianna as well. You have Ranger in the lane and can shove that wave effectively, giving a lot of control towards Meteor in the early stages when it comes to Scuttle Crabs, but also having the ability to have this mid laner that can work in conjunction with them in any sort of skirmishes towards dragons or early returns.
RNG gonna go with a rumble here up towards Xiao. I mean, like, look, Xiaohu's played his entire career in the mid lane, so why not? Oh, well, actually,
is it Orianna?
Could be the Orianna top. They said
it could be. I think this is actually the Orianna top. I think this is Cryin going for the rumble, because oftentimes what we'll see is that if there's like a lot of early game pressure on the opponent's side, Cryin will go back towards the rumble, and then we'll use this to get to answer for the pressure that we see in the early game. And as well, in RNG's, RNG did an interview, I think it was Lyric who was actually talking about this, or maybe it was Clement, but what he was saying was that RNG, in game number 1 of a series, will like to pick a champion that they can flex, like this Orianna, and put it in towards the mid lane, and then in game number 2, they'll mix it around. So we'll get a decision onto where that is going, but still that flex is there. However, Biubiu will be taking that Jason to the top lane, so very long range on towards this BLG side. You got the Azir that can poke from range, same with this Jace. The Varus as well. Now, I had a quick look there. A lot of the builds that we see from Varus at the moment are the likes of the Immortal Shield Bows, there's some Gale Force, there's some Kraken Slayer, but not something like the Eclipse or the Lethality style build. But does it mean you can't go towards that, like go for a Manamune into Eclipse if you want to just opt into pure poke?
Yeah, probably the Dusk Blade or something if you really wanted to go lethality, because the range nerfs on Eclipse really hurt a lot of the lethality AD carries. But Yeah, definitely an interesting one. I believe it was going to be the Rumble towards the top side here. So Xiaohu, I mean, let's be honest. Xiaohu's a mid laner, so this Rumble is certainly not out of his wheelhouse. And in years gone by, Rumble was one of the premier top laners anyway. So this is not that crazy of a draft. It just feels a little crazy in the current meta. We're jumping into game number 2 here, Dacto, between RNG and BLG. BLG right now are 3-3 in the standings, and they would love to keep that positive. They'd really love an extra win in that column, but RNG, after game number 1, are not looking like that's allowed. RNG want to keep up this lossless streak. They want to keep their scoreboard clean if they can find a 2-0 here.
The biggest problem that I see for RNG right now is just trying to deal with the range that you have on BLG's side. I'm going to hold on to this print. No, going to be okay. So when I look at RNG, it's like short range, jungle, mid, boss. So you're heavily reliant on Ming, but also Xiaohu with these equalizers to help you close the gap onto BLG. Otherwise, it's very easy for them to just play at range with the poke that they have and not really have to commit to that, to engage to get that damage off. So I think on RNG side, your best bet here is to start to play a little bit heavily towards Xiaohu in this top side. See if you can get him on, or at least in a lead, and then turn your attention down towards Gala and Ming. If Ming is unlocked from the map, you can very quickly start to get this snowball rolling where you're getting deep vision control, you're able to gank towards Zeka in this mid lane, and just try and put the locks down onto BLG early, and then deny vision, which prevents them from operating at this long range, as they just don't know where RNG are going to be.
And you can see the Comet and Tier for aiming. They are very much looking towards that lethality virus that we talked about before. They want to build this full poke composition, this long range, as you say, to try and play around these objectives. But whether or not RNG allow that is a different question. Maybe they don't have a choice, as Gala's hooked in to start this game off. If aiming could get a kill, that would be so huge for BLG, but Ming is still trading back here. That's going to be all right for now. Has that Doran shield, so we'll have a good amount of sustain for the laning phase.
This is really impressive from Jwei. They're going to hit the 2. Hook goes wide. Just about.
Did you see that from Jwei?
Yeah.
He just recalled mid-combo as well. As like, damn, I missed the hook. I'll recall in frustration. This guy's full solo queue. I love it.
I really like Jwei. Like, I was not expecting this guy to come out swinging in the way he has. Like, his lane so far has been massively impressive and honestly better than a lot of the supports we have in the LPL right now.
Yeah, incredibly good 2v2 actually coming out from aiming and Jwei. Maybe this is a more permanent substitution than we were giving it credit for before. So nicely done by Jwei so far in this lane. And once again, that tier coming through from aiming means that once he gets a couple of recalls off, if he can get towards a serrated Dirk, he's going to be real scary. As Zeka takes a hefty chunk there from Cryin. Once again, Cryin really having the best of this mid lane. But Meteor, he could look towards a dive here. Jwei's in the vicinity though. Jwei will have the lantern available. Or will he actually? I think he's just got hook and Flay. He's going to go with the black shield onto Jwei though. It means that the CC can't come on through. Flay back. Jwei has to flash away for his life here. Gala doing what he can, but the health bar's already low from the earlier trades. BLG get a couple of Krugs, but that's it.
Nice job from Meteor as well. I mean, I know it's only seen away a couple of Krugs, but getting weight low, preventing him from having an impact on the map. Xiaohu, though, trying to go aggressive, knowing that double junglers are on the bottom side of the map, and gets a pretty nice trade back in his favor in this top side. Even though we consider Rumble as this melee style of champion, because you've got the harpoons and because you've got the speed up, you can quickly close the distance on towards these ranged carries, and especially in these longer lanes in the top lane, it's not only that you can just take the abuse like you do in mid lane, you can actually go aggressive and chase them down.
Yeah, you land that harpoon, it's very difficult for your enemy to escape you at that point. So nicely done there by Xiaohu to get a good trade. As Ming has some excellent CSing, which you can't often say for support players, I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of support players that can't CS for Toffee, but Ming showing that he's got the skills on this Morgana.
It is, although like Ming is farming up well, there is still issues on this bottom lane, right? Because you're now looking at Aiming, who's got this massive CS lead. He's able to walk back to lane. He's still holding on to this TP. So in the perspective of, hey, you know, let's look towards Rift Heralds in the future, Amy can just stay in this bottom lane for as long as he wants. He's not going to run out of mana. He's got Tear. He's going to have Mana Flow Bland thanks to runes with that Comet. And he can just TP up towards Rift Herald. So now BLG have a very definitive way of securing that later objective. And they can then turn that in towards more gold. And as a poke composition, your goal is to try and get these turrets down to get vision, so then you can catch RNG as they're trying to move in towards river, towards dragons, trying to move in towards the barons, and just poking them down before they really get established in the river.
Yeah, and I don't think the 15 CS for Ming is going to be able to change that win condition either, so Ming's going to have to keep doing a bit more work. I will say the Black Shield will help a little bit with the poke war. Certainly can reduce some of the damage coming in, but obviously with Biubiu and aiming being the majority of that poke damage, Black Shield not too good. I do want to quickly mention that Ming is on one of his absolute comfort champions. When you think of Ming historically, this Morgana is one of his absolute long-time favorites, one of his absolute best champions, so expect the Black Shields to be on point, expect the bindings to be on point as well, except for that one. Just pretend that one didn't happen.
However, Jwei out bot side, trying to see if he can at least give a little bit of breathing room towards Gala and Ming to shove in this lane. Meteor in the vicinity as well, though.
It's the binding coming through onto Jwei. He's just going to go for the hook onto Ming, but this is a 2v3 right now before Meteor arrives onto the scene. Going onto Ming, flashes out to safety. Meteor with the Aegis Assault to keep himself alive, but it won't be good enough. One more auto does the trick for Gala. First blood comes through for the RNG AD carry. The route is there, they can't follow up, but they can start the dragon.
Surprising turnaround from RNG there. When I think of Meteor and the amount of damage and execute damage that he can put out alongside this Varus, I assumed you just flash in, you get that damage onto one person, but not having that piercing arrow available means that BLG can't burst out Gala, and RNG are able to turn that around, so nice job. Not able to turn into a dragon though, because Ainin and Jwei are in the vicinity.
We've got an all-in. We've got an all-in on the top side here. Or do we? Biubiu disengages, realizing Equalize is available and doesn't commit to the fight here. Nice disengage from RNG as well, not going for the dragon immediately because they knew that aiming in Jwei could move over. Now they get to set this one up properly and go for the objective.
Yeah, and there's nothing that you could really do here. Jwei was too low, he's forced it back. You could have had Zeka move over though, although Cryin misses that shockwave, so maybe BLG get a little bit more antsy towards this dragon, but it's already gone. RNG have picked this up.
Yeah, nicely done by RNG, and this is the intelligent gameplay that we keep on talking about. The fact that they're able to read exactly what BLG wants to do, play around BLG's strengths and weaknesses correctly, and force the issue towards their side of the map. So nicely done by Jwei to get these dragons rolling as well, because every time we see an Olaf, we talk about it. He loves to stack these dragons up, and that's a nice early dragon to start him off.
I'm still looking to see how BLG though are going to play around the 2-item spike that comes in, because you've got the double tier items that are coming in of Biubiu and aiming, so they are very much obviously going towards these long drawn out poke wars against RNG. And at least for the moment, they're not in a massive enough deficit that it's really going to prevent them from enacting that game plan. And if you do, as RNG, try to combat at a lot of these later dragons, where you've got, say, like the lethality items that are built on both Biubiu and aiming, you're going to have Zeka, who's got a lot of poke, probably with the Andrew's Anguish picked up as well. Like, you can do a lot of work in these scenarios. And I don't know how well equipped RNG are to deal with that if BLG play correctly.
I'm not gonna lie, Doctor, I'm watching this bottom lane right now and I'm thinking, is this actually good? Because I got a lot of elo playing Lethality Varus last time I visited. It's a very easy AD carry to play, very abusive in that bottom lane, and very obnoxious to play against, and you can see that reflected in the CS advantage, in the plate advantage. The aiming and Jwei are fighting for themselves. Look at the Q damage! Look at the E damage! There's nothing you can do. There is no counterplay to this kind of harassment.
Well, there is. He just played to the opposite side when he picks up Rift Herald. However, RNG read this really well. They go, look, there's going to be some pesky shenanigans coming in on bot side. So instead, they're going to trade that for the bot lane turret plates.
Xiaohu's actually in trouble here. Biubiu looks like he's committing to this one. Can he find the shock blast? He's not going to go for it. I think it was on cooldown in the end. Xiaohu forced to recall at very least. Does have the teleport available though, so won't lose too much in the top side of the map, but will mean that in a few minutes' time, Biubiu will have a minor teleport advantage for himself that could be a window for BLG to abuse.
I'm surprised that BLG aren't being a little bit more abusive towards his bottom lane, honestly. You've got 2 turret plates left. You know that you've got the Rift Herald picked up, so Jwei will answer for the plates that are already taken at some point. And it looks like, at least with Wei's path team, he's just going to try and use this bot lane. He wants to make sure that Meteor isn't able to recall, pick up a Gourd Drinker, and then just instantly make a play on this bottom side.
Look towards that bottom side. You can see Jwei moving over there. The Krugs are about to spawn, so maybe looking for a play on the bot side, maybe just looking to continue farming up on this Olaf, which, generally speaking, if nothing's happening, you're playing Olaf against Pantheon, you're great. That's fine. That's totally okay in your eyes, because Olaf would love to just farm up all game. With this Rift Herald, though, and with an Aphelios on the squad, bot lane looks pretty juicy right now. So, Jwei charges into this lane. They're just going to clear this one up because they saw the recourse coming on through, and they'll be able to drop this Herald. And I don't think they'll be able to finish the tower here. No, it's still full plates right now, so should be able to at least get 3 or 4 plates.
The big thing as well is that it's getting gold into the pocket of Gala before this dragon in a minute and a half. So they may actually be able to get this tower, now that you say it, and that could push him up. No, they won't quite, but we'll be close enough to pushing him over to limit to finishing that Kraken Slayer. And trying to answer for the cheaper lethality item that's already picked up by aiming is the goal of RNG right now. The Xiaohu, he's roamed all the way down from the top side. They're looking for the dive.
Yeah, they want this one. They want the dragon off the back of it as well. Aiming locked up the land, and he can't take it. I'm not even sure why he couldn't take it.
It was Gala had rooted him. Gala had that gun, that the gravitum. So manages to root him. Then you get the binding from Ming. He's stuck on the red carpet, and aiming goes down. Now, perfect reset timings coming in for the RNG side to go towards this dragon. They get the first tower of the game. Biubiu will answer with a lot of turret plates and a lot of gold on the top side. But again, RNG, at least in the kills, are getting these leads and in the tempo advantage. And you'll see it here. That's the bullet that lets the gravitum set. He's not able to take the lantern, and from there, it's just CC City.
Beautiful from Ming, and you know, it's just classic RNG, isn't it? They lay out the red carpet, they give aiming the royal treatment. He's like, no, this is too much, this is too much. They're like, no, you're staying. Have a root. This is the red carpet just for you, aiming. And he discovers that maybe royalty's not all it's cracked up to be. Zeka's taking a bit of damage in the mid lane as Gala hasn't quite finished that Kraken Slayer, but he's not afraid to skirmish. RNG gonna start this Drake off. This would be their second, but it does look like BLG want to contest this one. TP towards the mid lane from Cryin. He's not in position just yet, but Biubiu is miles away. This would be a 4 versus 5 if BLG try and force the fight right here. Xiaohu's behind the play, does have Equalizer available once more. Meteor goes in onto him. Equalizer dropped down. Aiming has to dash away from it. Zeka's gone in literally as the rest of the team is zoned away. Worst timing possible, but it doesn't matter because they have infinite range and infinite damage. It's a 1-for-1 trade.
It's a 1-for-1, but it may not be over.
I think it is, Vector.
I don't know.
Oh, no, it's not. Shockwave goes through. They flash on out. Jwei gets the pull, though, on towards the likes of Gala. They get to trade this one 1-for-1. Aegis keeps Meteor alive. Then he flashes out of the play as well. Aiming still surviving for now, but has to flash away himself. Q goes through. Oh my days! Almost a double kill with a single arrow. Call him Robin Hood or call him Aiming. Call him whatever you like.
Never doubt your color caster, Munch. I knew there was going to be more action. How he ended up getting a few more kills going over the way of BLG, but nicely done from RNG to start this off. The big thing I wanted to bring attention to was the lane assignments from RNG leading into this. You'd actually sent Cryin to the top lane because he had the TP to push out that wave. It meant they had the numbers advantage towards this fight. And again, you see Biubiu down in this bottom lane here. So when RNG turn, they think they've got the advantage, but they don't expect this from aiming. Beautiful shot. Nearly picks up the double kill, but importantly, gives Biubiu time on this bot side as well. Biubiu got that tower. He's got a bunch of gold for himself. Eclipse completed. He's very quickly working towards this Manamune. And you've got the 2 core damage dealers, and Biubiu and aiming now very much up and rolling on this BLG side.
Yeah, and you know, it was a really good shot onto Cryin. I don't know why Xiaohu, as the other guy that was really low, went and stacked with Cryin as the arrows coming in. Like, just separate. Even if he gets one kill, at least it's only one. That's a really nice route there, but Gala has the black shield, so the follow-up won't be able to take him down. Gala needs to start being a little bit careful in these fights, because this composition from BLG, I'm starting to see the strengths here. I'm starting to really feel what they could do. Ming takes a huge amount of damage, but the red carpet comes out. Biubiu should go down, but he flashes over the wall, chased by Jwei. This should be Jwei going down as well. It's going to be 2 kills for nothing in favor of RNG, and the Herald's on the map.
That's a big mistake from BLG. They had vision in this river. I was actually about to compliment them on setting up this vision so they can start this poke and start this siege in the mid lane, but that they just ignore it. And then Biubiu gets caught out as Jwei runs through. You've got Xiaohu again, so clever, and when he starts to move from these side lanes to group with the team, and they catch them with their pants down. They now get the Rift Herald. They can use this to crack open the mid lane turret and get that deep vision that we were talking about.
Shockwave onto the mid wave there from Cryin, just to make sure that BLG can't siege too effectively. Clear the wave out. Make sure BLG don't get anything in answer for the Herald. I want to point to the scoreboard, though, for a second here, Dagda, because we're just beyond the 15-minute mark here, and the goal difference is way, way, way less significant than it was in Game 1. If you think back, they were about, I don't know, 6,000 gold or something up at the 15-minute mark. Now, BLG in a much better position, able to contest this early game far better. This lethality VAR is actually looking pretty damn good for me.
It is, and I think it will continue to do so as long as they're able to keep RNG at range. That's the big question here, because you can see there in that last fight, the second RNG get on top of BLG, they just tear through. They've way too much damage to deal with this squishy lineup. But as long as like this, they can keep them at bay, well then BLG can continue to poke, and like as well the Liandry's Anguish here from Zeka we talked about, that was going to be the build, because you get a little bit of poke, you get that burn, and it adds to that effect of just being able to whittle down the likes of RNG in these scraps.
Yeah, it's kind of a different style of Azir to the, you know, full attack speed team fight Azir that you may be used to from last season. But going with the Comet often means that you're trying to dominate the lane, but when you put it in this composition, you're like, okay, they don't want long drawn-out fights. They want to be poking in and out, and they want to be doing as much with each attack as they possibly can, so the burn's certainly helping with that. As Biubiu has gone too far forwards here. He wanted to get on the tower, but Jwei is here to answer for that one. Red carpet comes down, but the lantern pulls them out to safety.
Again, though, Biubiu is... wait. But again, Biubiu is the one that's getting caught out. He's overextending. They don't have the vision. Rift Herald in mid, though, to try and hard force this mid turret. But RNG so low, this was a terrible call.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that one from Jwei, to be honest, because they're just going to clear that very, very easily. RNG can't do anything about it. They really don't want to fight with Xiaohu's ult on cooldown as well, so they need to maybe back away from this one. It's a Cloud Drake on the map. Cryin is searching for a shockwave. You can just see him hanging around next to the wall, waiting for an opportunity. Zeka stepping in. BLG would love to get this Drake, not just for getting it themselves, but also denying the potential soul from RNG. I don't think RNG are going to give up just yet.
There's no Equalizer in Xiaohu, there's no Ragnarok and Jwei. RNG are trying to buy time for those spells to come up, but you can see the problem. The longer you're in front of BLG, the more poke they're hitting.
And also, Xiaohu's Equalizer is now back up. It just came up 1 second ago. Ragnarok's still a while away, though. I think RNG deciding better of the situation. Meteor gets the Drake. BLG starting to find their feet, to find their footing in this series a little bit. Gold is just about even. That's going to be a Drake for them, slowing down the win condition from RNG. This is feeling pretty good.
And it's a nice call from BLG to kind of realize, hey, look, if you're going towards this early Aphelios, if you're going towards the Olaf as well, we're going to have a range advantage. And they tried to pivot with the Rumble in the top lane to get the Equalizer to close that distance and provide some non-committal poke from RNG side, but it's not enough right now, and you can see the result that if BLG can play their game, they're great at clearing waves, they're great at having these siege scenarios. They just need to make sure they're keeping vision control of River, making sure RNG can find these funky angles to engage, and making damn sure that RNG do not get Baron. Because if RNG get Baron, that's game over. They can't really poke. The siege potential goes down. They can't clear waves as easy. It becomes really difficult for them. So they need to make sure they keep vision control on Baron at all times.
Yeah, one of the other things that I can see in favor of RNG right now is that you've got 2 players on the side of BLG, 2 of the primary damage sources that are going to build lethality. It makes armor incredibly valuable for people like Jwei. Even Ming and Cryin getting themselves a Zhonya's, they get huge amounts of value out of that. You can see 2 Seeker's arm guards already in the inventories from RNG. That lethality falls off of a cliff when some armor comes through.
I'm kind of thinking now, I wouldn't have minded to Ming go first into like the Moonstaff build. In this one, like, you get the shields, you get the extra stuff coming through from that, but certainly just being able to mitigate some of this poke could have been really, really good. I wouldn't be surprised to see an early redemption come in, but I certainly... Ooh, hang on.
Biubiu is caught once again, and once again, Jwei is in just the right spot to save him with the Dark Passage.
Yeah, I'm just going back to Ming though. I think the Battle Song does make a lot of sense, and you need some way in closing the gap here. If you end up just trying to play this war of attrition, you're going to end up winning as BLG. So with the Battle Song, I think it's just a case of, hey, look, we know we need to close the gap. Let's get that 60% move speed buff and just tear at BLG.
Yeah, and it kind of slingshots way into the fight as well, right? You can just send the Viking in and say, hey, you can't poke us if you're in the middle of a hand-to-hand combat. So I guess Ming, big fan of jousting or something. I don't know where I'm going with this one, Dag. Just save me. Let's talk about the top lane, because Xiaohu gets to play himself a mage. He's got 2-0-3 scoreline right now. He's gone for the Night Harvester build, and he's feeling real good. That's a hook coming on through. Gala looking for a kill for himself. Flashes forwards to grab that one off the back of the skirmish. Arrow comes through from aiming to answer, but it's not much of an answer, I'm not going to lie.
Aiming can clear these waves though. It creates a numbers advantage for RNG in the map though, where look at the top side, Cryin trying to enact a split push, trying to see if he can get some chip down the damage. When Zeka showing top, now maybe they can get this 4-man playing the mid lane, but the wave isn't lasting long enough to actually get to the tower in mid.
Yeah, this is one of the things about poke compositions, right? Is they have a lot of long-range damage to hit champions with. They also can annihilate minion waves. Varus especially just one-shots the minion wave over and over again, so it can be very difficult to get any footing on the map, find any positioning for yourself, because you never get to push the waves that effectively. A bit of a replay here as this was the play for aiming, but dodged away from. Too easy, says Xiaohu. Now TP in the mid lane. Cryin gonna be doing all right for wave clear himself. Dagda, we've got a bit of a stale mid game, haven't we? It's one of those.
We kind of do, but look, BLG, they're looking at this dragon, right? Look at the vision control for them. It's about getting that past the river line, making sure they can spot out RNG and just hide in the depths of darkness and just fire pop shots every time RNG try to poke their head through the tall grass. And this is unfortunately a symptom of these poke compositions, is that they want to run away. They don't want to try and fight. They don't want to have you get in on top of them. So we end up with this slow, very methodical poke, prod, vision war. This is going to be the name of the game for a lot of this game.
Zeka just about dodges away from the binding here. BLG really want to set this fight, or not really set up the fight, just set up the idea of a fight at arm's length and never actually fight. Yeah. That's what they'd love to set up for themselves. But RNG don't want to let that happen. Gala's here in the mid lane trying to clear away the minions. Has Inferno, will be able to just about get that wave down before BLG can finish off the tower. This feels tense, Dagda. This feels like in a moment's notice, this could explode.
I like how... Oh, it is going to explode. At Xiaohu on the flank? Not quite. But I like how RNG are playing this. What they're trying to do is draw BLG into where RNG have vision. Make them face check, because they know how quickly RNG can take this Baron. Equalizer to clear the wave, though, not going to be enough. And that should be the symbol for BLG that maybe they can siege mid, or they can fall back over towards this dragon.
Yeah, the dragon is available. This is going to be going the way of BLG. Getting the ult CDR, certainly very nice for them as well. And realistically, RNG have no threat on the Baron at this point in the game. Realistically, need a third item on Gala before they can start to do anything like that. And Cryin still only on one item as well, so still a long way to go before RNG's composition is really firing on all cylinders. So it's definitely a good position for BLG to be in. We're getting very close to even gold once more. 800 is the difference. Still in favor of RNG, but BLG do seem to be closing that gap.
Yeah, the gold is not a massive indicator of how this game is going to go. It is very much going to be a case of closing that gap, getting onto BLG if you're an RNG fan, whereas for BLG, keeping your eye on the vision. Like, you can see the wards that are already in the river. It's just giving Amy the opportunity to push up. Same when it comes towards Biubiu, allowing them to get the poke down. Like, this is going to be more so about the actual execution in team fights, more so than just the gold right now.
So, as we see Jwei trying to clear vision around this Baron, BLG really want to stop that happening. And one thing that, you know, we talked about before the game began, when you see a composition like this with just infinite poke on its side, BLG would love to play around that Baron. They are just willing RNG to try and set up a play on Baron, because if they can just sit and poke and prod while RNG tank a Baron at the same time, that is the dream scenario, and then just finish off a fight. I don't think they're going to find that anytime soon, because let's remember as well that RNG, this is the team that we've complimented the most for playing intelligently towards their own win conditions. So don't anticipate RNG setting themselves up in a place where BLG can find their correct partners.
And I want to see some intelligent item choices here from RNG as well. I want to see it after this. Actually, it is going to be the Bloodthirster, which I like coming through from Gala, saying, hey, I'm going to need some lifesteal. I also want to see more armor, more of the defensive stats coming in from Jwei as well. He does not need more damage right now. If he gets onto them, they win. So just be the one that can take the brunt of the poke, the brunt of the damage from BLG, and allow the rest of RNG to follow suit.
Jwei has to back off for a second here. Ward going down. Will be cleared. Aiming has gone for the Umbral Glaive. He's basically just getting all of the cheap lethality items at this point. As I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for something like an Edge of Night next. He can go for like a GA as well. Xiaohu's being all in by Biubiu, and there's not much you can say about it. Drops down the equalizer, but the flash from Biubiu is beautiful. 2 games, 2 solo kills for Biubiu over Xiaohu.
Well, Gala's trying to 1v1 Biubiu, but he knows that those cooldowns are going to be back up and he can't close the gap. It's ring around the rosy, and Biubiu's happy to play games.
Very nicely done by Biubiu here, and gets to continue with the pressure in this bottom side of the map. We'll be able to just clear the wave. Looks like the threat of Cryin moving down, though, is enough to send him packing. Will recall go back to the base, but BLG now can look to set up around Baron as Zeka has been found, but he's got a turret. Here's a TP coming through from one of his teammates. Tries to get the knockback, but Ming with the black shield keeps himself safe. Beautifully done. But in the meantime, Meteor slams home. Double kill for Biubiu at the same time, and BLG just blew this game wide open.
They'll be able to get the Baron off of that play. What looked so good for RNG, they just didn't have the numbers. Everyone on BLG is able to show up, and now you add all this poke, all this siege with the Baron. This ain't looking good for RNG.
Oh, unless Aiming burns down. Equalizer not quite positioned correctly to get the kill onto Aiming, but it is enough that BLG have to back away. Here's one of the issues of poke compositions. The consistent damage not always that great, and the Baron take quite often very slow.
I agree. I just thought they'd be able to get enough poke off and force Cryin and Xiaohu back. I mean, I suppose they're quote-unquote the tankiest members, essentially, of RNG, because they do have some armor built into their kits, the Seeker's Arm Guard, but I still thought we'd get something. But watching the minimap here, you get Gala, who's able to get into range here, but they're separated out by the wall. You've got a great TP coming in from Aiming as well to separate them and allow this Pantheon to finish them off, and it's just a very split team fight from RNG without them actually able to get on towards these key damage members of BLG.
Oh, that was actually Aiming's ult that came down onto Jwei there while he had a Dark Passage to get out. Kind of overusing cooldowns there. It's a huge cooldown for Varus as well. As in importance, not in terms of time, because look at aiming on the right of your screen. It's already halfway cooled down. That is insane. These Cloud Drakes pretty good.
Well, you can see the game plan here from BLG is, look, we don't need to face check this. We have enough vision to know you're not on Baron, and that's enough for us. Now they can take it back. The cooldown is basically there. The health bar from Jwei, a little bit slower to come back. But again, RNG, the second that this dragon is up, they're trying to threaten on towards Baron. The poke is insane from BLG right now, though, and they're not losing anything for this.
Yeah, Zeka can happily solo out the Drake. He'll even get a Scuttle Crab for his troubles. Now RNG are well aware that Zeka's not here. They're going to start this Baron off, see if they can just burn this one through. The poke stacking up from the side of BLG. Smite goes down and Meteor gets it. BLG get everything they could have wanted. Zeka in the flank. Perfect Emperor's Divide, and BLG will not go down quietly. Moonlight Vigil answers with one as Gala desperately wants to clean up this team fight, but he can't even finish off the support here. Biubiu walks away as well. BLG, they're happy to trade one death for a Baron and a team fight.
RNG knew that their backs were against the ropes. They were, oh, Jwei, nice attempt at the steal. But they knew they were done. They knew they were done. RNG were like, look, we've got to make this Baron play now. Otherwise, we just slowly bleed out. All these extra dragons are just making sure that the cooldowns on BLG are next to nothing. We don't have a chance unless we do this now. And unfortunately for them, the smite comes in from Meteor. And as you rightly pointed out before this Munch, they're sitting ducks in this Baron pit. So without being able to get the Baron, they're not able to get away. And a great flank off the TP from Zeka just sets them up beautifully. Jwei flashing in with that hook to seal the deal. And from this point, it looks like BLG should be able to close out this game.
And this has been really beautiful to watch because this is creativity for BLG as well. This is not a standard meta composition. This is reading what RNG want to do with their composition and answering it beautifully. This Varus pick, this is the first time we have seen Varus this season in the LPL. We're already in week 5. This is the first time we've seen the pick, but it looks fantastic for aiming. BLG get to play this slow, methodical style like they want. Just super intelligent play and really impressive that BLG, after game number 1, can come back in with a level head and find themselves such a commanding position in the game.
And this is something that you do expect from Coach Kim, right? Coming over from SKT, or sorry, T1 even now. He was very good. Like, sometimes he's able to come out with these really creative drafts and being able to spot in the draft that, hey, you've got an Aphelios, we've first rotationed the Pantheon of the Thresh, we've shown nothing, we've committed to nothing, and then go, oh, hey, you've fully gone in towards a short-range composition, we're just going to go range, we're just going to go poke, and you have nothing you can do. And even though RNG did try to pivot and bring out the Morgana, the Rumble, trying to see what they can do, there's just nothing to answer for the 3.5 pokes that we have coming through on the BLG side.
I feel like the real issue as well is that they have no real way of forcing a team fight unless Ming finds a binding, right? Or there's a miracle shockwave from Cryin.
It's the TP. They need to find some ward for a TP in behind them. If they're just sitting here like this, it's not going to work. And that's why I'm keeping my eyes on the pink ward that is actually in the opponent's, or in RNG's jungle. They could look for Xiaohu to TP to that and try and set up the flank, but it's kind of a long way away from actually being a reasonable job with just how far ahead BLG are and the ability of them to just speed on out of there through the gates that Jace offers.
Also, we're talking about a Rumble flank, right? He doesn't even have Zhonya's, so if Rumble TP's in behind him, he'll drop the equalizer, and then he'll die immediately. So it's a difficult situation.
Oh, Xiaohu.
Xiaohu's in trouble. Biubiu, he's waiting, but Xiaohu respects it. Biubiu, nothing but disappointment in the bottom side.
I really like the build from Biubiu as well. When we talk about, hey, look, you know, you're trying to speed up to get in on top of the BLG squad. Well, Biubiu has the Cyrilda's grudge, giving that slow and killing.
He's found him. He was in a different brush.
Yeah.
Biubiu is just hiding in the forest, and Xiaohu. The night is dark and full of terrors. Never face check, my friend, because Biubiu is waiting for you.
And now 4 versus 5 as RNG. Xiaohu off the map for 30 seconds. The poke is going to start back up again. Ming already feeling the brunt of it. And now you need to draw Cryin off to one side, which makes it easier for BLG as a 4-man squad to start looking at this mid lane turret.
And not to mention, the Cloud Drake, it's up in 20 seconds, is... I mean, if they get Cloud Soul and can threaten on towards an Elder Drake 5 minutes later, it only seems to get worse for RNG. One thing that's worth mentioning, though, is Gala stacking these items up on Aphelios. Like, theoretically, that's really, really great, right? Has a Bloodthirster for the lifesteal to try and sustain through the poke. Maybe heading towards an IE next. Could even go towards a GA next, honestly, to try and mitigate some of the lethality. But no, he's gone for the Infinity Edge. Picks it up as I'm speaking, in fact. But ultimately, he just never gets to auto-attack. Nobody's ever close enough for him to use these items.
And that's the thing. Maybe he can try and pick up a rapid fire cannon to get some poke, but even then, your range is pretty minuscule as Aphelios, so the rapid fire is not going to do very much for you. Dragon picked up by BLG as well, so 4 clouds for them. Not even a fight coming through from RNG. RNG have got to try and hope they can get this Baron, maybe make a pick, but BLG have been playing this so well, not giving them an ounce of space or any real mistakes.
Here we go. The hard engage comes through from Meteor, but wait, has the Ragnarok and double TP to answer RNG. Like the Star Guardians all assemble in the mid lane to defend their territory. It was beautiful to see. Nothing happens though, so we return to the poke war that is this game.
They knew that was the best time though. They knew that that was if they could catch Zeka overextended, get the equalizer down, slow the team, close the gap. Maybe they could actually set things up, but honestly, this works out massively in favor of BLG. Now you don't have to worry about any sort of tank or any sort of flanks coming in with the TP plays from RNG. They're both down, and you should be pretty safely able to start up this Baron. However, this is the time for RNG. If you can catch them in the pit, they're stuck. They can't go anywhere, and this is the most dangerous time for a poke composition.
Oh my goodness, the damage onto Jwei. He is nowhere near tanky enough. Biubiu just deletes him. Now the root comes in. Equalizes down though. Biubiu not into his GA. Cryin jumps on forward. Shockwave only onto Meteor. Needed to hit more people there. That's a huge team fight ult down. And you know what? A GA for a kill is not worth it. The jungle is down. So Baron could be on the cards. BLG respecting RNG, playing this as carefully as they can.
No big ultimates really left available for RNG though. Could have been an opportunity for BLG to actually go towards the Baron if they wanted to, but as you said, they are playing this super safe. They know they are in the position to win this game. They know there's very little that RNG can do, so if they don't take any risks, there's no honest way for RNG to get into this game.
Well, Baron begins once more. Ming has to be the one to face check here alongside Xiaohu. They don't have any vision just yet. This Baron's going to be down. They needed to do it quicker than that. Jwei was still dead when it started off, so couldn't make it over in time. And another objective for BLG. The last sort of 15 minutes have just been all BLG, with RNG not being able to find anything on the map. They finally get themselves a tower. They might be able to find a pick as well. Aiming the target, but that is beautiful. Coming through from Zeka. Can they finish these kills off? The answer is yes. In goes Meteor. In goes Biubiu. Double kill for Jwei as well. And Xiaohu left all alone in the world, and he'll have to just watch as his base is shredded to tatters.
Yeah, draft difference here from BLG, and executing very, very well. They will be able to pick up this game number 2. And even you can see at the end, their poke comp, they'll team fight when they're 10,000 gold ahead. So they just close this one out nice and neat.
Beautifully done by BLG, and one of the most controlled games that we've seen of the split, honestly. RNG and BLG feels like a very intelligent matchup between two of the biggest minds within the